see the world through other people's eyes. Now, empathy is a quality of character that can change the world.
Hi, it's Edwin Rutsch, and this is Dialogues on How to Build a Culture of Empathy and Compassion. And I'm here today with Muna Awad. Thank you for joining me, Muna.
Hi, Edwin. Thank you for this interview.
Yeah, and you're in Jordan, so it's great to be connecting so far away.
Yes, this is Middle East, Jordan, Amman.
Great. And so what we want to talk about is kind of get to know you a little bit. And I know you're working with the Charter for Compassion there. And maybe you could just kind of tell me a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah. Well, my experience mainly is in education. I started off as teacher of English as a second language, and I also did I had some experience in training, and it mainly dealt with training parents and teachers on positive approaches, and that was like mainly when I worked with an NGO. And I love education, and I think that so much can change, and it's like the basic element where we can work on real change, where real change starts. And last year, I was lucky to be invited to speak at a TEDx event, and through that, I met the curator and licensee of the TEDx Dead Sea at the time. And he was also had taken on the and became partner with the Charter for Compassion. And I really liked the idea. I thought, this is something I live by and like to raise my kids by being more considerate and compassionate, and basically to think about others before thinking about oneself.
Oh, that's great. So you've been in education, and then you started working with TEDx, and now you're working as well with the Charter for Compassion.
Yeah. So we started with organizing TEDx events and working on the charter in parallel, and it was such an interesting idea because, of course, so much work is done for compassion at schools, and we just wanted to highlight this, being partners of the charter in Jordan. And we were lucky to have, like now recently, we have one more school joined to make the number become 4 major schools, private schools though, in Jordan, who have decided to prepare their own plans and have a different monthly activities under the Charter for Compassion theme. And we're still also working on TEDx events on the side.
So what is your role with the Charter for Compassion?
Well, so far I'm mainly like it's not a big team for the charter, and we're looking forward to become bigger. I'm the program director for the charter, and because of my experience and background in education, like I really enjoy this part and enjoy linking with schools and teachers and seeing how they can come up with creative ideas to make sure that they have the basis for activities that can go on for a long time. We approach schools and we emphasize that we know that you do things like under the community service activities or different ideas, but once you're Charter for Compassion partner, you have to ensure continuity, and you can't, for example, come and say, this project can wait, or we can't be compassionate anymore. So it's how we're trying to do it slowly, so that people take it on and have everybody on board, students and teachers.
Well, I'm looking at the on Facebook at the Charter for Compassion Jordan site, Facebook site, and you have like 12,000 followers, which is quite a good showing.
Yeah.
And there's also there's kind of a picture there of looks like some drawings. Is that part of one of your projects?
Yeah, what happened is that we started off when we first launched the Facebook page, it came with a competition. And we said, you know, mainly post an act of compassion a day and you would win one of 5 major prizes. And a lot of people were interested and they were liking our page and joining. It was during the month of Ramadan. And what's interesting is that the prizes themselves were an act of compassion. So let's say you have posted so many acts of compassion and you've been awarded the prize, then you would give something in your name as help or as a contribution to somebody who might need it, like a scholarship for a school, for a whole year, the heating bill for a family for 3 months during winter time. So that was the time when we got a lot of people on board to follow us and like us, which was like really great. And it happened at the same time with the competition going on in Pakistan. So we did it parallel to the launch of this competition with our Charter for Compassion partners in Pakistan. So we did a nice video in Arabic that where people came and read the lines from the charter to make because a lot of people were asking, you know, so like we are compassionate and like according to our religion, we're compassionate people and everything. So how is this Charter for Compassion different? So we just made it very simple and easy in this nice video where we encouraged people to make it part of their daily lives. And this is how it would be different. It would become something that you have to practice and remind yourself to do every day, if not many times a day. So yeah, the launch of the competition like had a lot of people follow.
Mm-hmm. So how did you personally get interested in compassion? Well, I guess I could actually start by saying, what is your most important value in life?
Yeah, I think that if we like have the discipline to discipline and the will to just be content with our lives and happy and grateful, that by itself can give us the time to give back to others. And sometimes what happens is that we're overwhelmed with our needs and our problems that we forget to give back. And I think this is the most important thing, to have the discipline to just say, you know, I should be grateful with what I have. I should be happy. Even when it's hard times happen for a reason, and you can learn so much and benefit so much from a situation that's not going well. I'm the kind of person who always sees the glass half full. And I like always seem to like, even if there's a disaster and I go, oh, but it's, you know, something, and it's something good. Some people, they find this tiring because like they want a moment of despair or something to, you know, hit rock bottom. And I taught myself to do that sometimes we just need to think, okay, things are not going well, I'm not happy. And that would be just for 5 seconds. And then so I guess that I see the good in things, and I found that I have the energy to help others like get to that place, whether my family, my friends. And that's how I felt. And when I was asked, you know, to be part of the Charter for Compassion, I felt, you know, this is my place.
Oh, okay. So the Charter for Compassion and the whole value of compassion really resonated with you. It was something that kind of, it seems to be part of your natural personality and your optimistic and disciplined. Sounds like you're also somewhat disciplined.
Well, I try, and I think that even when I'm not doing this 100%, this is what I aspire to do. And I stop myself and think, you know, if you only think this way, you will get the results you want. And of course, life is really challenging. It's not only me that I try to, like, it's not only my life that I have to manage. I have 3 kids, and because I'm very passionate about parenting and positive approaches, and I do training courses and sessions on this, I try to live by my code and and try to on a daily basis test this, like do I have the discipline, or like I don't like to preach because it's also we can slip into that and see the perfect side of things, but when things are hard I stop and remind myself of how I like things to be and how this discipline needs to like show in different situations.
Well, what I'm working on is how we can promote empathy and compassion in the world. And for me, I feel that we need a kind of a global cultural transformation to raise empathy and compassion and be foundational values in society, so that we're very conscious and explicitly, you know, promoting these values and living the values. And so what I'm looking at is how can we do that? How can we kind of raise the level in society of these values? And I'm just wondering, you know, about any insights you have found about how to do that.
The honest truth is that, like, for our part of the world and my contribution, where I feel I could have like a bit of input to start change, is I believe that it all starts with good education for parents. For example, I know that like there is no school for parenting per se, where everybody goes there, and this is where the Arab world is an exception. But I do know that that like in the Western world, you get through the education, through the school system, through a lot of rules and policies, a lot of positive approaches with children are instilled. So in our part of the world, I think a lot of the support that people need from their childhood is the kind of parents who are encouraging, positive, supportive, who know what they're doing. And if you have somebody who has been given enough confidence, enough acceptance, and you set them out to the world, I'm sure that they'll do much better than people who have had no more like respect than they should. In our part of the world, for example, when they go to schools, even only part of the schools get or hire teachers who have a degree in teaching. The rest just hire people who have like got their BA in a certain subject. So like if you've studied math, let's say for 4 years, you're eligible to be a math teacher. But of course, there's all this thing about, you know, teaching approaches, the dealing with children at different ages, dealing with teenagers, and knowing how to motivate, knowing how to discipline. So leaving home, they go to schools, the children, to another atmosphere, another environment that does not really, is not basically focused on providing all the support they can get. And I think it all starts there. Better education for parents. And then, of course, the Ministry of Education, let's say for Jordan, is working on developing the abilities and the capabilities of teachers. But it's not like something that is everywhere. And this is, I think, one of the ways to start this process.
So it sounds like you're a real believer in education. Then it's like education in the schools, but maybe education for the parents as well on how to be empathic and compassionate parents.
Yeah. It's really like a lot of parents, because they're overwhelmed with all the challenges in life and all their troubles, regardless of what kind, the kids like sort of get caught up in the middle. And for example, a 2-year-old throwing a tantrum could be very easily spoken to as somebody who's naughty, or who is a troublemaker. Like I've seen so many examples, sad examples of people just taking kids, for example, to a restaurant and being very upset with them if they're noisy, or if they're like these kids, if they're 3 years old, they would need a coloring book, they would need a toy of some sort, and don't expect them to do more than they can. And you can imagine when there's 3 kids, with 3 different age groups, and the parents go there with their agenda, you know, to have fun, or and it's this kind of thing. So there's always these unspoken disappointments, I feel, that the kids need to express more opinion, be themselves, and be accepted. And that's why I feel that when there's like political issues and the teenagers run crazy in the streets, it's because there's so much anger built up and so much frustration that they just need any reason to just, you know, rebel or something.
To kind of vent that anger that kind of gets built up, and you need to vent it somewhere. I did notice that there's a conference, I don't know if you're involved in that, the Transforming Conflict in Amman,
Yes.
Jordan. Are you part of that project?
Yeah, the partners, charter partners, El Common Bond Institute have gotten in touch with us a while ago, and we started to help as much as we can to promote for the to the conference, and suggest speakers who might be interested with similar topics that would be of interest to the people attending. Yes, yani we are part of it, and planning to attend all 4 days of the conference.
You know, sometimes I like to look at the definition of empathy and compassion through kind of more through metaphor. And often empathy is seen as looking through someone else's eyes or standing in someone else's shoes. And for me, empathy is like a cornucopia. I don't know if you know the cornucopia, but it's the horn of plenty. So there's all this, you know, it's a Norse legend where all these wonderful things, food and treasures, kind of come out of. So I'm wondering if you have a metaphor of what either empathy or compassion is like to you, sort of is an image.
I haven't really thought of that, actually, but it's always like seeing the world from people's eyes, and not judging before you completely understand their point of view. So I'll think of something.
Yeah. Okay. So it's really about seeing how other people are seeing the world and not judging. Seems to be the main kind of quality. So you're trying not to judge people.
Exactly. Because like we just want to see the good side, and sometimes we only want to see our good side, and we forget that we have other sides. And that's, yani, it's the win-win thinking approach, where you realize you have weaknesses, and it's normal, it's acceptable, you live with them, you try to make them better, and people have strengths. This should not be like to a threat of any sort, and that's how people can work better together and actually help each other become better at what they do.
So it sounds like to build a culture of empathy and compassion, the first thing is education. We're going to need more education, and then maybe kind of do less judging of others, and then other kind of insights into how do we foster empathy. I mean, maybe hard work. You're doing a lot of hard work of kind of creating the, you know, kind of going to the schools, reaching out. So you've got a lot of discipline and hard work to change society.
Yeah, the good part is, Edwin, is that when I go there to meet people, they're so welcoming, and they love the idea. Like, it feels so good to know that people out there are so, like, as if they're waiting for something like this to happen, and there's so many of them out there. The problem is, like, with schools, and because of the big load that the teachers have, sometimes it becomes like a bit just of a challenge to explain to these like other teachers who might find it difficult. You know, you can insert this, like, you have to believe in it, make it part of your own like schedule every day, and just make sure you do something with the children every day. And they pick up, of course, the kids pick up so quick and so fast, especially when we're like firm and like so kind and firm about it. Like, this is what's going to happen. We're going to be thinking of each other. We're going to be forgiving. You know, I know you're going to, or you did something bad, but this doesn't mean that there aren't good qualities that you do to me or to your friend or to your classmate, and just move on and keep looking for the good things. And this is the kind of spirit that you need. Again, the challenge is that some teachers have such a big load that they think, you know, is this another something that I have to do? Will I leave school on time, or do I have to do, you know? So when it gets to that, you have to just stop and make it, adapt the whole plan to make the teacher comfortable, because otherwise we're not being compassionate with the teacher. This is like now the challenge. 4 schools are on board. There is the American Community School, and they did a wonderful thing. They had the students start the whole campaign for the charter. They said, well, we do instill values like respect and integrity and compassion, and we don't want to start saying, you know, we are compassionate schools, a school just like that. So maybe if the teenagers who, like, there were a couple of girls interested, if they step forward and say, you know, here's our plan, this is what we want to do, then maybe it becomes easier. And this is exactly what happened. A couple of girls, they're in like high school, they started different activities, reading for younger students about compassion once a week, inviting other of their friends to do the same. During community service trips everywhere, they spoke about being compassionate and how visiting people and accepting, you know, different cultures and different communities, this by itself being compassionate. And now the school has, like, recently adopted the charter and became an official Charter for Compassion partner. Other schools are trying to come up with lesson plans of their own, and they base their ideas based on an educational like kit that we developed, and they're really excited, and we should like see something as a beginning of the next academic year.
Oh, great. So it looks like you're looking to get the students involved, so it becomes kind of a initiation from the students. It's just not, here, this is what you have to do, but the students kind of get involved and want to promote the values of compassion.
Yeah, because I think otherwise it will become another like chore, and it shouldn't be. If the students are convinced, at least a number of them, they can enjoy doing different activities and, you know, perhaps invite peers to do so, or they can be, you know, doing cool stuff, and then this becomes part of the cool things that you can do. And start change there. You asked me a question about the picture on our Facebook page, Edwin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what we did for some time was through our partners. We have now 17 partners that are officially on the website, and one of them is an organization that spreads information and raises awareness on serious illnesses like AIDS and tuberculosis and all that. And this was actually one of their activities where they linked with the Mobile Museum in Jordan. The National Museum of Jordan does this one trip on a weekly basis. They go out there, they take basically the museum to children around the country. People who cannot come to the museum can go and visit them. So as Charter for Compassion partner, we said we'd like to be with you on that day, because what you're doing is also compassionate, and whether it's like about raising awareness about the importance of art or about certain diseases and talking to students and so on. So this was taken from a particular trip to a girls' school in one of the camps. It's called Gaza Camp, and it's an underprivileged camp where you know, this was one of the good schools there, and it was amazing how the girls you know, were really participated with a lot of information, with you know, a lot of enthusiasm. There was this lecture first from a physician who explained everything about how to be safe, and it was on about AIDS, the disease, and then afterwards, like expressing their ideas through art. Of course, all around them in the classroom, there were all these beautiful art pieces who, you know, it became a gallery in their classroom. And at the end of the whole thing, all their very nice portraits were put next to these nice art pieces. And, you know, the instructor who helped them do the drawings said, you know, here you are, you're artists and your work is amazing. So, and it was like mainly talking about disease and how it can affect us. So some of these pictures were sad. Some of them had half sad, half happy. And it was really interesting to see these eighth graders, what they could come up with.
Yeah, it really creates a way for them to express themselves and to create a dialogue around the topic of compassion. How do you see your work going forward now with the Charter for, and, you know, promoting compassion in Jordan?
Yeah, the thing is, I do believe that we need to go slow so that, again, people don't abandon or ignore their plans because of other, like, more urgent matters. I'm sure that people don't want to put this aside, but like with the hectic schedule that everybody has, the number one priority is to keep working with the 17 partners that we have. Part of this group is 4 schools, and making sure that they have interesting ideas and building on their program and plans. And the other thing is perhaps we can have our own programs that we can, like, through a team, start doing. And these would have to do with training parents, training teachers on positive approaches. Again, going back to the idea of proper education on this matter.
It sounds like you're saying that you're wanting to go slowly and then develop more kind of curriculum type material for education in different areas.
Yeah, and we're lucky to be part of the Compassionate Schools Network, again with our partners in Pakistan. So we will have a lot of like material to learn from and to move, create the basis where we can all move slowly but surely on this.
What kind of support do you feel that you need for your work to kind of promote it? And
yeah, I think mainly it's like if we can make sure that the schools that we are working with now, the 4 schools, are doing they're doing these nice programs and they're sticking to them. Maybe we can, like, elaborate from there and have the people who are involved at these schools help with other projects. My main concern is to have public schools join such an initiative, because normally private schools have all the resources and it's easier for them to talk about these things, whereas public schools are the place where it's much needed. And of course, to access that, we would need permission from the Ministry of Education. Like, we would go through the a bit of politics there, but not that it can't be done, but it would need, like, a whole budget and, like, a bit of curriculum that we can propose and start working on.
So it sounds like the type of support would be actually the government kind of behind it, then kind of having the government ministries and kind of accepting, you know, the importance of compassion, and then using their kind of state resources to help foster it.
Yeah, of course, this would be the amazing solution. But then again, if we start with a pilot project, maybe through a certain success that we can have, it can be easier for us to do this. So we'll hopefully as at the beginning of next year, because like schools have most of the schools who are partners with us are very busy now with course graduation and exams and everything, that the beginning of the next academic year it will be clearer on how they wish to like proceed and how they can help us with the other schools, approaching public schools and becoming, you know, part of the team.
It can be kind of like a model. If you can create some really good models, then maybe the government can see those models and how well they're working. And if there's already curriculum developed, it'll just make it easier for them to maybe get involved.
Yeah, true.
Well, that's what I'm looking at is when I talk about a culture of empathy and compassion, is to get everyone involved. So we really raise, you know, all the different parts of the culture, the government, the business, the education systems, and all the different social institutions that empathy and compassion became foundational values, and to really, you know, raise those values in society. So it's great to see the work you're doing in that direction tirelessly. You seem like a very strong, you know, strong-willed person, kind of strong-willed for compassion.
Yeah, thank you. It's just that it can be done and people are doing it already. All we need to do is just highlight it some more and just put some like more effort. And that's why like we were very ambitious at the beginning, and the fact that we have 17 partners and they're all willing and trying to work on their plans, like it gave us a good boost to continue. But then we stopped a little bit and thought maybe just go back and make sure that everybody like at a later stage we're gonna have everybody meet up in a nice gathering, maybe an event for the charter, and people can talk about what they did to each other, to the like at least to the different partners, and just give it a fresh start one more time. And I'm sure that the people who have you know, started working on such an initiative, they can themselves be part of the team helping later on. So yeah, hopefully like we're enjoying this, and hopefully through the events coming, whether the transforming conflict, which is happening in June, or later on like an event for the charter partners, we can elaborate and bring in new ideas.
So keep kind of a dynamically growing. And part of that, I hope, is kind of this networking that we're doing, because I'm in California, you're in Amman, Jordan, that now we have this capacity to really to connect and reach out, you know, worldwide with the worldwide community, and kind of support each other and create dialogues and just work together.
Yes, that's amazing. Also, that there are these opportunities now for teenagers to be web pals, if you want, or pen pals. There was this idea, and I know a lot of the schools that we're working with can really jump into this and take the opportunity for so many reasons. It's you know, learning about different cultures. It's you know, meeting new people and learning the language. And of course, there's other issues like a lot of people don't have the correct like information about this part of the world and how teenagers live their lives and everything. So it just brings the world closer, and these two like different whether at teenage level or older. So there are some interesting ideas through this project that can really make the gap smaller, if you want, or
bring people all around the world together around this and make connection. So is there any kind of final thoughts you have that maybe you'd like to speak to that haven't been covered so far?
Well, I'd like to really thank you, Edwin, for this great opportunity and speaking to you. This is the second time, and it's just that we're looking forward to bring in more ideas where we can make this more accessible to people, whether to speak to you or to know more about what you do, the interesting ideas or projects, so that they can either as partners use it and make it part of their plans, or simply just for themselves. So
yeah, so we held one panel discussion already with Vincian
yes.
in London, so we can kind of have some more and kind of network some more with other people that want to raise the level of empathy and compassion in society. So I look forward to doing that.
Wonderful.
So, okay, then thank you so much. Very grateful for all the work you're doing and kind of your energy and enthusiasm and, warm-heartedness.
Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. And thank you for your time and, everything. And I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Okay, talk to you soon, Muna.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
See the world through other people's eyes. Empathy is a quality of character that can change the world.